everyone. I'm Teacher Chin, a coffee enthusiast. Welcome to today's microclass. Today, let's explore together the primary processing techniques of coffee green beans. It mainly involves separating the seeds from coffee cherries, coffee beans, from other components, and using specific processing methods to prepare these seeds for subsequent roasting and grinding. In our previous lessons, we learned about the structure of coffee cherries. Coffee cherries consist of multiple layers, but only the innermost seeds are what we actually need. Therefore, the first step in primary processing is to separate coffee beans from cherries using specific methods. There are mainly two processing methods for coffee beans: dry and wet processing. Dry processing involves sun-drying coffee cherries directly before removing the pulp. This method is simple and straightforward, but may be affected by weather conditions, impacting coffee quality. Dry processing, also called natural drying method, is a traditional coffee processing technique. Throughout the entire process, it doesn't use water washing to separate beans from impurities, but relies solely on sunlight and natural air drying. Its characteristic is allowing beans to dry naturally, thus preserving their natural flavors and the sweetness of the pulp. The processing steps generally include: first, sorting and cleaning. Harvested coffee cherries are sorted and cleaned to remove immature, damaged cherries, as well as dirt and soil impurities. Second, drying. The cleaned coffee cherries are sun-dried, typically spread on large concrete or brick patios, or placed on waist-high drying beds. The drying process requires regular turning to ensure even drying and prevent mold formation. Hulling and sorting. The dried cherries are then sent to milling stations. Hulling, sorting, grading, and bagging. During this process, coffee bean oils may surface, giving them a glossy appearance. Impact and advantages on flavor. As the pulp also dries during processing, thus, the beans absorb all the fruity flavors hidden within ripe coffee cherries, making dry processed coffee beans more aromatic and complex in flavor. Cost advantages. Dry processing requires relatively simple equipment at lower costs without causing environmental pollution. Weather dependency in dry processing. Dry processing heavily relies on weather conditions, requiring a dry climate. To ensure complete drying of the beans and prevent mold formation, quality control is also crucial. Although dry processing preserves more bean flavors, processing with pulp intact means coffee may develop uneven coloration and potentially carry off flavors or aromas, affecting bean quality. Overall, dry processing is a traditional and cost-effective method that retains rich coffee flavors. However, it's weather-dependent and requires careful process control to ensure bean quality. Next, let's discuss wet processing. Wet processing involves soaking beans in water, removing pulp through fermentation. This method typically yields cleaner beans, but consumes more water resources. During processing, beans undergo fermentation, washing, and drying. These steps effectively remove surface impurities, adjust bean moisture levels, and prepare them for subsequent roasting. Coffee wet processing is a common bean treatment method. Main steps include wet process. First step is harvesting ripe coffee cherries. The timing of harvesting has a crucial impact on the taste and quality of coffee, because only ripe coffee cherries can deliver the best flavor and taste. After harvesting the coffee cherries, sorting and impurity removal are required. These steps include classifying the coffee cherries by variety and ripeness, and removing twigs, stones, and other debris through sorting. Next comes the depulping process, typically using knives or machines to remove the skin, exposing the coffee beans inside. The depulped beans are then placed in fermentation tanks. For fermentation, the fermentation duration depends on bean variety and weather, usually taking hours or 1 to 2 days. This process helps remove bean oils and gives them a glossy appearance. After fermentation, the beans undergo washing and soaking to ensure thorough cleaning. During this phase, beans are soaked in fresh water and rinsed repeatedly until completely clean. After washing, beans are sun-dried or semi-dried. This process removes surface moisture from beans, typically taking several days. Once dried, beans are hung on long racks for sun exposure. During this stage, beans require frequent turning. To ensure complete drying, the dried bean surface develops a parchment layer, which gets removed in this process. Dried beans then go through hulling machines to remove husks and grade beans by size. After this step, beans are ready for roasting and packaging at processing plants. In summary, wet coffee processing, though more complex than dry processing, produces superior quality thanks to its refined techniques with high-quality coffee beans. Throughout the processing stages, special attention must be to control conditions and timing at each step to ensure optimal quality and flavor of the coffee beans. Finally, the preliminarily processed beans are sent for roasting. During the roasting process, coffee beans undergo physical and chemical transformations, developing the familiar aroma and taste of coffee. In summary, the principle of green coffee processing is to employ specific methods to separate beans from coffee cherries and adjust their condition through processing, facilitating subsequent roasting and grinding for smooth operation, ultimately producing delicious coffee. Primary processing of green coffee includes picking, fermentation, washing, drying, and more. These steps require workers' meticulous care, patience, and masterful skill. Embodies the artisan spirit perfectly. Only through continuous refinement and pursuit of excellence can outstanding achievements be made in any field. That concludes today's lesson. Thank you all.